David Morris and his daughter Jennifer are hunting at the newest signature property, Highveld Ranch. On the first afternoon, they saw a bunch of deer and some great bucks. Jennifer was very close to taking her first buck in 9 years, but opted to wait till she saw a few of the others David has been telling her about.
So the second morning, we got ready to go back out, and we wanted to go back to the same food plot. Got in real early, and Jennifer, like I say, was very excited after that first afternoon, and who wouldn't be? What a place to end your 9-year dry spell of hunting, to come back to Highveld Ranch with all the game here, the absolutely beautiful aesthetics of these oak trees and oak lots, and so much game here and so many good mature bucks. What an afternoon we had on that first afternoon. So the second morning, we were full of anticipation. Daylight came, and when daylight started breaking a little bit, I saw a buck on the far side of that food plot that I could not make out, but I knew it was a big mature buck. And I could just make out the shape of the antlers enough to think that could be him. So as daylight finally began to kind of brighten the landscape there a little bit, I started seeing that probably is him. And then finally he lifted his head and stepped kind of out of the shadows into the food plot, and I realized that is him. That is the Big 10 that we had originally come after. We didn't see him the first afternoon, now he's here. And now I told Jennifer, I said, that's him. And she absolutely loved him. She got ready to shoot him, got on him, and then she turned to me and says, I really want to see cluster before I make a decision. I said, well, Jennifer, you can't always choose and put one on the shelf. I mean, here he is now.
When we finally saw the Big 10 that we were after, I really wanted to shoot him, but I really couldn't get cluster off my mind. I really wanted to see him before I made that decision. And to be honest, I really didn't want the hunt to end that soon.
I said, know that he may not come back. You can't put a deer on the shelf. She says, well, she'll decide, but she wants to see cluster first. And I said, okay, well, that's your decision, we'll wait. And we sat there and watched that deer, and I'm gonna tell you, I was questioning whether or not she should have shot that thing, because this was a really fine whitetail. I mean, good mass, he had it all. He just was a great buck. We saw lots of other animals, great morning, and it set up an afternoon that was going to be interesting, because we were determined that we were going to go after cluster that afternoon and see if we could find him. Now the rut is on here at Highveld. We're trying to get back to check another stand before it gets too late in the morning, but we can't get there if we keep running into deer. So we're going to try again, Jen. Let's go. So cluster was the last piece of the puzzle for Jennifer. She wanted to see him. Now there are a lot of other big bucks on this ranch. Those happen to be 3 that we just kind of targeted. And so if she could see cluster, she would now have seen all 3 of the ones that she had kind of had a heart set on. So our plan was to go back and focus on cluster that afternoon. So we got back in there pretty early in the afternoon. Everything was just perfect, really. Beautiful day. And as we're sitting there, a doe or 2 came out on the side of the hill. They were eating some acorns under these live oaks. They were about 175 yards from us. And I was watching them, and they began to come down into a little opening there, and they were starting to feeding around. And I looked back up, and there was another deer there that had not been there. And I saw it was a buck right away, put my glasses on him, and it was cluster. You hit him. You hit him. You hit him.
More shaky than I normally am.
Well, it's the first time in many years that you've hunted. Jen has been busy raising her family and working, and she just shot an extremely unique deer we call Cluster. And so the celebration began, and we began to kind of breathe a sigh of relief, because there had been a lot of tension over the last couple of days on what to shoot here to decide. I mean, what a great problem. I kept telling Jennifer, I said, Jennifer, you've got a dilemma, and what a great dilemma it is. Which one of these big bucks do you choose to shoot? And I said, throw me that briar patch anytime. That's a great problem to have. Well, Jennifer had decided on Cluster.
I saw him jump.
Yeah, you hit him good, I think. I think you hit him good. I think you made a good shot on him. I think you got him, and I think we'll go down there and get him. So
I'm excited.
We got up there to him. He was down about 30, 40 yards away. What a beautiful buck. He actually was bigger than I thought he was.
You know what? He's a lot heavier than I thought.
Hey, look at this. Look at that triple
Oh my
tag.
goodness. Okay, yeah, I made a good
okay.
choice.
Yeah.
He's cool.
His tines were a little bit longer. He was heavier than I thought he was. He was even wider than I thought he was. He was so tall off his head. He ended up scoring 165, which is a fantastic buck. And Jennifer was delighted with him. She had gotten herself a beautiful buck here on Highveld Ranch. What an incredible deer. And what I liked most of all about him, he was at least 8 and likely 9. His teeth were worn all the way back. He was an old buck. It was a great buck to take. Kind of made me wonder what he might have been at 6 or 7, but he was an incredible deer. And so she had Clustered.
That's what I couldn't get over right there.
Good man, what a time that is.
That is special.
My goodness.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Sugar.
Thank you.
Now, I did entice her a little bit on Cluster. I told her, I said, if you do shoot Cluster, we might go after that big 8 too, because he qualifies as a management buck. He's a 140s 8-pointer management buck, but he does have some extras. I said, so your hunt won't be over. We'll see if we can find that big 8. Well, I think that probably tipped the scales in favor of Cluster right there. So she decided to take Cluster, and I tell you, once we got to him, we knew it was the right decision. This was a gorgeous buck, just a gorgeous buck. So Jennifer was very excited. She loved that deer, very unique. That Cluster tine looked like the claws on a raptor.